Hello folks, David Hurley of EasyChessTips.com here, having a look at a couple of Blitz games I played in the live chess mode on Gameknot. First time this year, I played 3 games. I lost the first one, a blunder, so it's not very interesting. So I want to show you 2 games that I managed to win. When I play, my rating in this section of Gameknot is in the 1200s. And the guy I lost to by blundering is 12-4-2. And then I won 2 games, one against a guy in the 12-13 rating and a guy with 11-38 as their rating. And my rating against these 2 guys is a little bit higher. However, this is not my strongest way of playing. But I thought these 2 games were also quite interesting. At least they interested me. So I'm going to show you how the games went. In both cases, I opened as white. I was rather hoping to get a chance to play as black because I'm going back through again after a few years. My man, Charlie Story's The Sniper, which was his first book on an opening system as black. He's done a lot of work on the system since writing the book, but I'm going back over it and I'm finding it very useful to help improve my game as black. That didn't happen, so I'm going to open with d4, the queen's pawn opening that I've trained with, to some extent, as a complete amateur, with John Watson's opening repertoire for white, the 1d4 opening repertoire. And I always like to see knight to f6 because there's a chance that we're going to end up with a nice, comfortable central game. It depends. It could go any way. In this case, however, we're heading towards what looks like the King's Indian. Indeed, here it is. And it's at this stage where I began to feel a little happy. Well, I was happy enough anyway. I'm not totally miserable, you know, but here at this point, I was quite pleased with this move. It doesn't look to me like the best of black's options. And so I continued my development. Black castles, another pawn move. Okay, so I just advanced the pawn. That's pretty standard. Then we get this interesting knight on the rim move. Move up the queen, in he comes, and that will give me a pawn advantage, a material advantage, 1 pawn material advantage, and it's still a relatively closed game, so I don't mind swapping off a bishop for a knight. And there, indeed, another bishop goes down, but this time it's his bishop. That's a very sniperish move, by the way. That's the kind of move that our boy Charlie quite likes in certain situations. But he wouldn't play this kind of opening. Not a typical King's Indian. Well, I say typical, but there's been a couple of moves that I think are less than optimal. But in the right circumstances, swapping off your G7 a bishop for the c3 knight to disrupt pawn structure is something that Charlie advocates, but I don't think it does too much damage at all. I have a nice strong center here. I'm perfectly happy to do that because we've emptied out the pieces in front of the king here. The knight's gone and the bishop has gone. And now our pawn structure is back to fairly solid, even if you consider the doubled pawns here a liability, which I don't particularly. Okay, so he wants that pawn. I think I'm going to let him have the pawn. I'd rather keep developing. Castle out of trouble. Whoopee woo. You've now got back material equality. But let's have your queen jump around a little bit more. Oh, you want another pawn? Okay, you can have that pawn. I have other things to do. Hey, dials up. That looks like he's now materially ahead. Well, he is, but has moved off this really nice diagonal here. The queen is off the diagonal and also is not even a material advantage because there's a pawn here, a central pawn. So we've exchanged a wing pawn, the edge pawn, for a middle pawn. So I'm feeling quite happy with that. I've still got my nice strong center here. And my queen is also eyeing up this diagonal. Got to go careful, obviously, because of that knight. But let's see how... Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. You're going to give me that diagonal? I will accept that gift. The knight now comes charging in. This is a knight sacrifice. What's he hoping to achieve here? I don't know, but I'll accept that and I'll go for it. The queen gets the pawn, but now I have the material advantage and I would say the positional advantage as well. Put some pressure on the queen. This is a losing move. And what pleases me about this game is that I was able to see it with only a couple of minutes or so on the clock. This is an absolute losing move. What should white do here? If you want to pause the video and have a look, go ahead. I'm going to have a swig of beer. Okay, so in this situation, the last thing you want to do, well, maybe not last, but something you don't want to do is swap off queens here. You'd be activating the black bishop on c8 and linking up his rooks. You'd basically be doing black's work for black if you just swap off queens here. There's something much better, and I hope you saw it, and that is to take the jolly pawn. It looks like a bishop sacrifice. Well, it is a bishop sacrifice. Check. Rook takes bishop. It's the only available move. The king can't move. Rook takes bishop. And then we bring in our rookie boy down here. Check. Again, the king can't move. There's only one move. And now we get to checkmate. That's it. Checkmate. End of game. I'm very pleased to say that I managed to find that combination and finish off the game. So that was that. I was pleased with that result. I thought that was a very nice ending. Now we come on to the next game. And again, I am white. And so again, I open with 1d4. And this is a cagey old opening by black. I'm quite happy to see black popping out all his pawns. Okay, so I'm now ahead in development. Very much ahead in development. Okay, finally a piece is moving out. But I now have 4 pieces developed to black's 1. This is not the way to play. And I've castled. And now we begin to grab some central action. Okay, he's locked up the center. So we may want to swap off bishops. Let's see how it goes. Finding some space for the bishop. Bit of maneuvering because it's a closed old game. I'm not really sure about some of my opponent's moves, but whatever. It's time to grab some space. Okay. Now, what I notice is that there was... I probably moved this pawn too early. This is probably a blunder. I haven't put this through chess analysis because if he takes here, my knight is effectively pinned, or as the rook is still on this diagonal. But he didn't take it, so what happened there? He didn't take it. He moved his king over away from the index check of the rook on f1. So I took my opportunity to bring my other rook, my a1 rook, into the action and off that long diagonal. And so now, instead of taking that central pawn, I'm storming my way towards the king. This helps to open up the pawns in front of the king, bring in the bishop. Yeah, that was not a bad move, it seems, but I'm quite willing for him to take the bishop, but he doesn't yet. Now he does. Okay, so bring in the queen. It looks like he's fairly solid, but there's a hole here, of course. Time to bring up a knight, I think. I haven't, as I say, I haven't put any of this into the computer analysis. Who knows how many blunders are being committed here. So here's a question. Would you swap off queens? I had a look at this for a while, as much as time permitted, and decided the best thing to do would be to swap off kings. Swap off queens, yeah. And now the pawn advance. Okay. So sacrifice here, opening things up, bringing the bish. Of course, bringing the bish, threatening the rook over there and the pawn over here. And this moves, this, of course, this is a check, just move out the way. Now, I believe he's got a material advantage here, but I think my position is better. So we've both got two rooks. I've got a bishop and a knight. He's got two bishops and a knight. And I have 5, 6 pawns, and he's got 4 pawns. But I have my pawns are occupying the center, so I pretty much dominate the center. This long diagonal, this is a well-placed bishop, nicely placed bishop. But what else? And I've got a knight on the rim. So if I get my knight into the action, that would improve things. But he has a material advantage for sure. Okay, on we go. So here now, totally dominating the center, cutting the bishop out from that back diagonal. Now, this is where things get spicy. The king moves in. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep going. Let's see if we can get something. Okay, he sacrifices. So now, looking down here, it looks like the material advantage has switched in my favor, as well as the positional advantage. So I'm feeling quite happy at this stage. Do we swap off bishops or not? Let's see what he wants to do. Okay, we'll grab that bishop. He moves back. Now we bring in the rook. He really wants to stop my pawns, but I don't think he can. There we go. Oh dear, this is the ultimate blunder, isn't it? Not yet. I mean, that is a blunder, but there's another blunder coming, I think. Well, that'll do. That'll do. I don't think this can be stopped. Here we go. I did think here about getting a knight to get the instant check, which would have been quite pretty. Knight check. But, and then he doesn't have too many options, actually. I think he just goes down here with my knight here protected by the knight, and I can bring this one in. It may have been a prettier move, but I didn't have much time, so I went for the queen, see what he does, and I think he resigned at that point. And so there we are, 2 games playing as white, the queen's pawn opening. If you know what you're doing, it's a nice solid opening. No computer analysis, but I'm quite pleased with the way I played in the second half of each of those games. I'm quite pleased with my development. I'm pretty sure I did blunder a couple of times in the middle, but no worries. When you're playing humans, you can quite often escape from the odd blunder, provided you're not the last person to make the biggest blunder. Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed those games. That's all for me for now. David Hurley's EasyChessTips.com. Until the next exciting chess and beer update.